Well, hello everybody. I'm playing around with a little something. I started it a while ago and stopped and just didn't think it was going to work. But kept kind of messing around and I don't think I kept all my printed parts. I think I threw them all away. But anyway, I've been playing around with trying to reproduce this. So this is the side marker light. Right here. And I just thought, what if I could do something that was fun, branded? And I bought a translucent orange filament, and it's just not great. It is translucent. It's definitely not this orange. And you can really kind of see the print line. So, I've done some research and I've learned that you really need to do like a resin mold print or something, and this just doesn't work, but I thought I'd give it a shot. But I had some other ideas, and I decided to try what would happen if I printed it black with the translucent orange. You can see that orange is not very orange. And then backlit, this is a rough print, so don't mind the print. And then, backlit it, and it's okay. It does work. It's just okay. I tried it in white. It's a little better, but I really didn't want white. It's an orange marker light. I mean, I could have done an orange bulb, but I didn't like the orange here. So I thought first, here's another version. I've got a few different prints. Then I thought first, here's another one. Like I mentioned, you go through a process. This one was a thinner version, because I realized that these were pretty hefty, so you can kind of see the difference in height. So I kept playing around, and I realized I had an orange non-translucent filament, and that's what it looks like, which I think is way better. It does light up. You can see. Because it's thin enough, it does still light up pretty good. And I thought, well, that's a good start. What if I went one step further and tried to get sequential? I like the sequential look. So I found online these little guys. They're for a motorcycle, and they are sequential. So if you bear with me for a second, I'll show you what they look like. Sorry for the camera angle. This is what I'm so good at. So sequential. So they kind of build, right? And I thought, what if I could design a marker light that kind of looks more like this, black with this orange filament. And then I put this behind it. Would I still get the effect of the sequential lights? So I've designed a light or a side marker, and a bracket that goes on the back side of it that these clip into. And we're gonna see how they work. This is gonna be my first test fit. I think those will plug right in. I pulled this out and it looks like there's a couple plugs back here. I might be able to just plug those right into. They are LED bulbs already, so I don't think I'm gonna have to mess with anything from a LED standpoint. But the one thing I may have to play around with is creating, so you get hot spots, right? So it's gonna be sitting a little close. I just tested it and it's not terrible. As long as you get it placed properly, it's not terrible. But I'm thinking what I might do is put a little rim around the Jimny logo so it captures all of the light inside it and it pushes it right to the Jimny logo. So we'll see. I'm gonna play around with that, but I think it's gonna work out pretty well. While I was working on this, I don't know if any of you have removed your side marker lights, but these rubber gaskets that are back here, they're 30 plus years old at this point. And they're fine if you don't touch them. But when you touch them, they do start to fall apart a little bit. Mine was stuck to my bulbs, peeling it off. And mine were salvageable, but they're still not great. So I thought about designing my own using TPU like I've done with, these gaskets here and the gaskets down there for the airbox, which has worked out great. As you can see, these have been running for months. No warping, no melting. So really, really impressed. And while I was looking around, I actually discovered somebody already made them. Somebody already made rubber gaskets for this. And it's a perfect fit. So if you look at, and I'm not going to be able to do it with one hand, but you can kind of see like this will just slide right on. And you'll have your rubber gasket. The screws go right through. It's great. So super impressed. I printed them in TPU. You can see flexible. And they have a right and a left and they're labeled. There's an R for right and an L on the other one for left. And the reason they're labeled right and left is because they have a drain hole on the bottom. So when you put it in here, in case water gets in, it drains out the bottom. So, there is a right and a left. They'll go either way because you can just flip them over, but just know that hole is there. So I thought that was super cool to find those. So I'm going to pull these out. I'll show you my 3D printed clip design and marker light. It did have to get deeper. So when I go back to these taller ones, it did have to get a little deeper because I needed room for that light. So, but I don't hate it. I had the one of these taller ones on here before, and I actually kind of like the bulkiness of what it looked like. This might be one of the taller ones. No, I don't think it is. But I liked what it looked like. It was a little beefy, and it actually works. I really like the black kind of contrast here. I also thought about trying to print it in this color because I do have that filament that is very close, as you can see here. So I might try that too and see how that looks because those LEDs are orange. So even with the yellow, it still may flash orange. But little disclaimer, no guarantee that this is going to be legal in all states and all countries, obviously. So just know that going in. I am fortunate enough here in the US anyway, and I'm not saying that I know the rules at all, but side marker lights are not required like this. At least I don't think. I think they're like European spec or Japanese spec or something because this one has it. That one does not. That's a JDM Mini. This is not. So I don't know what your rules and regulations are. So, go at your own risk. I don't feel like I'm going to get bothered at all by anybody by swapping this out. It's still going to flash orange. I'm keeping it orange. I'm not trying to do white or anything and make it, funky. But I'm pretty pleased with what it looks like. So let me know your thoughts, and we'll hop over to my new version that will house these lights. I'll put these lights in the link below. Just know I did have to modify these. So these lights had threads here because they're meant for a motorcycle. And so these threads, and I knew this when I bought them, it's too wide for the light fixture. So I just took a Dremel and kind of just very carefully cut it so I didn't cut the wires and trimmed them off. Pretty straightforward. It was no big deal. But just know that if you do this, you're going to have to modify those enough to make them fit back with inside. And I can show you. Make them fit inside here so you can see. If you want to center that light over a Jimny, which is what I wanted to do, that thread would have run way wide. Even if I did it the other way around, it's still wide. It probably would fit, but again, it would be off center. And from what I noticed in my little test, it's pretty particular about if you don't have it lined right up, you don't see the sequential, you just see kind of the light. So just know that. All right, well, I'm going to grab my prints. I'll show you the bracket I made, and we'll pull this out. We'll put the new rubber gasket in, get everything plugged in, and we'll look at it together real time and see how it turns out. So that's next. Okay, so got the new stuff printed. Kind of want to show you before I put everything together, but this is the new one. I think it looks pretty good. Came out pretty nice. Decent finish on it. I'm pretty pleased with the finish. And then this is the bracket. So the idea here is this light snaps into this bracket. See if we can do it here. Oop. Maybe drop it. So there, you can see, snaps right in there. I'm just trying to get it positioned in the right place. Needs to, I think I might have it in the wrong one, maybe. Let's try the other one. Let's see. We want this to be like that. Let's see what we get this time. It's a pretty good fit. Maybe too good a fit. I'm afraid I'm gonna break it. Good news is I can just print another one. Okay. So now the idea here is, you can see on the back, I've got little notches that this just slots right into. I'll show you how it looks. So you see now it's flush, just sits right in there. And then when the screws go through, it'll hold both of those in there. So it's a friction fit, so it's pretty good. But it's intended to be screwed down once you get the gasket and everything on there. So then if I grab a gasket, see, this is the left. We run these through here. Now you can see I've got a really nice clean fit. So this is the passenger side. So and then this one, I need to start over with this one. This one's not sitting the way I like it. There we go. Should be better. Maybe not. Try this again. I think I know what I did wrong. I didn't realize I designed these to kind of only go in one way to fit. So they kind of line up with the Jimny logo is what was my goal, is I wanted to line up nicely with the Jimny logo. So they do their part, because what I noticed in my little test is that if they're not pretty well centered, it doesn't really light up very good. So I'm gonna try this again and just get it in a better situation, which I think, let's see if we go this way, I think that might be it. So then get my other, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm doing all this, you can't see me, so I'll probably edit a lot of this out, so I apologize. But now, same thing, get it in its mount. It's nice and clean, really good fit. I'm really pleased with this TPU gasket that I found, so kudos to whoever created it. I'll put a link to it down below, so if you want to print one of these out, you can, but it's a really good fit. Now, obviously, I designed my light based off of this TPU gasket, so kind of course, it's going to be a good fit, but it looks pretty good, right? So now it's a matter of, one thing I didn't think of, and I'll figure this out as I get them connected, is which direction I want that sequential to go, because it's just a matter of flipping it over to get it to go in whatever direction you want. So I look at the way that I've got these set up now. So right now, they're not opposite one another because I have the cords coming out this way in both of them. So I'm gonna have to flip one around so they're both kind of going like that. So I'll figure out which way they're going and then flip it, get it installed, and I'll show you that. Okay, so here we are. We're gonna get this one swapped out. I've already cut and put the bullets on the end of this, so they're just bigger bullets. Got my electrical tape, my gasket, got my light in there. So I'm just gonna pull this out. I'm gonna have to undo all the electrical tape that's on there now. And if it's anything like the other side, it was a lot, but it's fine, I get it. Better to be safe. But you can see they're a little stuck, and mine is okay now because I've done the work or taken them off enough. But yeah. So this one's got it's a little tangled up in here. So here's my tape connection. I don't know if you can see that, but again, it's a lot. So I just gotta get it all peeled off. And which I appreciate their focus on waterproofing, I guess, but I doubt it came from the factory this way. So yeah. So I'll probably pause for a second and fast forward through all this so you don't have to watch it, because it's boring. Good. Time for this. Got one. It's funny. You know, I have to edit these videos. Not that there's much editing going on, to be honest. I know a lot of these people that create these YouTube videos, I think what makes, not that their content isn't good, because it is, but what makes their content better is how they film and edit and shoot, and man, it's just not my thing. I love making videos, don't get me wrong, but I don't love the time. I have a new appreciation about the time and effort people put in to editing videos. I do the most basic. Sometimes I just use Apple Movies, the app, to do it. Sometimes I use Final Cut. Final Cut does a better job of the fast forwarding stuff. It gives you a lot more options to fast forward through, like me removing this electrical tape. Final Cut will give me a much better way of fast forwarding, playing high speed than Apple does. Apple's is, it does it, but it only has like a slow and a fast, and the fast is not that fast. So like when I was filming the steering stabilizer, like there was a lot of footage of me just working and tightening bolts and moving stuff that I ended up fast forwarding through, and I was able to set a really fast forward speed. So it didn't bore you, obviously. But anyway, my point I was gonna make is like, what I've noticed in my videos, you learn a lot about yourself and the faces that you make. And so I've noticed a few quirks in the videos of myself. But the one thing that I noticed specifically is when I'm concentrating or working on something, my mouth makes all sorts of funny movements. So I noticed in like when I was looking at the earlier video of me trying to figure this stuff out when I was sitting over there, my mouth was making some funny faces. So anyway, just thought I'd share what I learned about myself. Okay, so what I learned on the other side is that on this, it's red and black. On this, it's black and green. Red goes to black, red goes to black. Let me say this again. Red from the light goes to black on the car. Black from the light goes to green on the car. Don't ask me why. Someone smarter than me probably knows, but I'm gonna double check it while I'm gonna throw a piece of tape in between this so they don't touch while I try it, because they're really close to one another. So, okay, I'm gonna turn on the 4-ways and see hazard and see if I can make it work. There it is. So it's going left to right. So I set it up because I thought it'd be fun if it lit up the word Jimny from left to right. But the other way of thinking about it is, so left to right, so it's reading Jimny, right? Over there, left to right, reading Jimny. But because it's facing the other way, the LED is animating forwards. So I don't know if I should match the animations so they're both, I mean, no, you only ever see one side at a time, right? Nobody's gonna see both sides. So I don't know what is better. I kind of like Jimny being the thing that builds. I'm gonna leave it this way for now. Give me your thoughts, what would you do? But at this point, the next step is just to tape this stuff up really good so we're decently waterproofed. I mean, it's mostly protected in here. It's in the fender well. I don't know how much water gets inside there, but I'd rather be safe. You know, I'm not going to go as safe as those last people because that was a crazy amount of electrical tape. But I'm gonna make sure it's good and it's not going to become disconnected is the first goal, and then enough to keep water out is the second goal. So a little bit of both. But I'm not gonna overdo it. There's two pieces, you know, call them 6 inches long. It should be more than enough to hold it in place as well as waterproof it. So let me get the other side done. You know, start below the connection so you get a good seal on the wire. Wrap yourself up and around. You know, these are bullets, so they're definitely got good connections. I like the ability to be able to disconnect them. I didn't want to hardwire them beyond a bullet because if I want to take them out, if I want to go back to stock, I don't love permanent changes, right? I know, you know me, and my drilling is one of the things I am always hesitant to do, but the other is definitely making permanent changes. So I like the idea of this being temporary in the sense that, you know, I can take off the electrical tape and we'd be good to go. So now, simple enough. We just put these screws back in. So as I said on the other side, I'll get one side started. So that's started. And then because they are a little short, it's easier just to start the other side before you tighten it up. So well, now they're both tight. I'm not over tightening them, nice and snug. Again, there you go. And I tell you what, like, I think that's a nice little addition. Like I said before, I like how these are a little beefy. They stick out a little bit beyond the recess, which I think is kind of neat. I think it adds a nice little aggressive touch to the look. When you stand back, it actually looks kind of cool. I love the animated. When I'm done here, I'm gonna go inside and I'm gonna print the yellow version, and we're gonna swap that out and see how it looks. If I like it, this video is not over. If I don't like it, this video is over. That's how it's gonna work. But I'm gonna try it. So I'll add it to the end of this if it's something I like and I keep, or we'll just keep it here. Like, it does look good in the gold or the orange. Like it feels somewhat natural, but I definitely wanted to see what it would look like if I matched it a little bit. Again, my bigger concern is like, how orange is it gonna be? I want it to be orange. But I don't know, let me know what you think of this upgrade. Or if you don't think it's an upgrade. Don't get me wrong, these are nice, simple, clean, these are in great shape. I don't hate them. You could very easily have put the same bulb. I could have designed something to hold that LED into this and still had a building LED. So it doesn't have to be done in necessarily custom. You might need to design something, honestly, that pushes this out a little bit because of the depth of those LEDs. And I'm sure there are better LEDs. I shopped quickly, grabbed what I thought would work. If I was gonna do something, maybe a little bit more produced, like offer them up for sale or something, I might find something a little simpler, because I had to Dremel off the threads, cut the bullets, which wasn't a big deal. Then I designed the bracket, so I'd have to design a different bracket if I found different lights. But I may go out and look and see if I can find another bracket. But this is a starting point. I like the design of the light. I like how it came out. I did model after this, but it's slightly different. But it's actually pretty close. A little bit more of a bevel on the side than this has, but it's not far off. So one thing I didn't do, which I probably should do, and I feel like I haven't done it with a handful of my parts, and I should, on the outside ones anyway, is throw some clear coat on them. I've done it with some parts. I did it with the fog light covers. Might be the only thing I think that's on the outside of this that I threw clear coat on, but it's probably helpful to throw some clear coat on there. I'm sure with time these will fade a bit. It's PETG carbon fiber. I don't know how bad it'll fade. I'm willing to see how long it was, because even if it does fade a little bit, throwing some clear coat on there should clean it right up anyway. So I'm gonna leave it alone for now. Yeah, again, let me know what you think. If you see me again here quickly, then you'll know I switched over to the yellow. If you don't see me, then I kept the orange. So, all right, well, that's this one. I hope it was interesting. Another one of my unnecessary but fun, in my opinion, builds. So I think it's super cool. I think it turned out really, really nice. And I could, at a minimum, offer up I already have links on my website to the gasket. So I didn't design those, so I just linked to the place where I found them. You can download and print it yourself. Use a 3D printing service. I'm happy to, for the price of the material and shipping, print you a set if you want. But a regular bulb is still gonna light this up okay. So you could still use this in a regular bulb. You don't need the animated ones or the sequential ones. So just let me know. I'll be on my website. But anyway, done. I'm gonna shut up now. Thanks for watching.